There is also a spirit called Juliet. Her question is there hope for my soulmate? She does such bad things on this earth. I want her to stop. How can I help her?
So, Julia, when did you pass?
Juliet.
Juliet.
Not long.
Not long ago? How old were you when you passed?
27.
Right, so your soulmate quite young, right?
Yes, she's 25.
25, okay. So you were 27 and it was a few years ago when you passed and she's 25. Right. What's her name? Do you know her name? You want to tell me?
Angela.
Angela, okay.
Angelina.
Angelina. Okay. And the issue you're facing is, how do I help her?
Yes.
Okay, but firstly what I'd like to do is ask you a few questions about where you are. Can we do that?
Yes.
Now, did you know that she was your soulmate before you passed?
I felt her to be, but
Right.
now I am sure.
Right, okay. So when you passed, where do you find yourself? When you first passed, where did you find yourself?
I'm not sure, but I'm not as dark as these others.
So you weren't as dark as the lady who was there earlier, where we were talking to?
That's correct.
Yep. As dark as Mary, but you're not very bright either compared to these bright spirits that have come occasionally? No, okay. The location you're in is in what's called the first sphere, but it's not as dark as what the other ladies were in. The location they were in was called the Hills, so it's a bit different to where you're in. But you feel very, very focused on your soulmate, don't you?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I love her.
Yeah.
And she's hurting herself.
Yeah.
And that hurts me.
And you can see her hurting herself.
Yes.
And what's she doing?
She drinks. She takes drugs.
Yeah.
She sleeps with men even though she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
She does many shameful things.
Yeah. And does she sleep with men so that she can get the drugs, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you were alive on earth with her, did she do the same things then too?
We partied a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not this much.
Right. Do you feel she's missing you a bit too? No.
I can see that she does it because she misses me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One of the things that is happening, and this is going to be quite difficult for you to face in a little bit. Let's talk about the dynamics going on between you and let's say that's you, and you're in a spirit body, right? And you've got your half of the soul, right? And then you've got your soulmate, and she's got a spirit body, right? And she's also got a material body. So let's just put that there as well. Right. So she's on earth, material body, physical body. She's on earth and you're in the spirit world. Now, when you feel lots of emotions of grief towards somebody, there's an automatic linkage that occurs between you and them, where you don't let them go. What happens is can you see the big trail that goes between you and her? There's a big emotional linkage, and you see it as like a big energy beam.
Yes.
You can see that?
Yes.
What colour is that?
Pink.
Yeah. And that's going from you to her. Can you see that?
Yes.
Now that energy linkage is actually about your emotions of grief that you feel towards her. You missing her.
Yes.
Right? And your worry for her and so forth. Now, unfortunately, she's going to receive that as a projection from you and feel very much a lot of her unhealed stuff is going to be linked to that. Do you follow me? And so this projection is not actually love, it's actually a need. And there's two different things between love and the need. When you project a need to somebody, oftentimes they'll stay hooked into that grief that you feel for many, many years. Now, have you noticed other people who have died in the spirit world, who have passed, you notice how often they've got the same thing coming from people on earth? You notice that? There's this energy sort of line coming from people on earth. And you can see whenever they go to do something, they feel drawn back to the earth, don't they? You notice that, how that's happening?
Yes.
So you've observed that? Yep. So you've observed that. So the issue, one of the issues you're facing yourself is that you're not yet in a state of truly loving your soulmate. You're in a state of missing your soulmate a lot. And that's actually exacerbating or making worse her feelings of grief about the loss of you. Do you understand?
Are you saying I cause her to do these things?
No, I'm not saying you cause it. I'm telling you how you can help it stop.
Okay.
Right? Her deciding to drink and take drugs and sleeping around is to do with her way of dealing with her grief. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm not saying you're responsible for her choices here. What I'm saying, though, is that this emotion that comes from you does cause her pain to increase. And then that causes her to make decisions that are sometimes unwise for her in her pain.
How do I stop causing her more pain?
Well, it's really simple. You've got to start allowing yourself, at the moment, what is your conception of God at the moment? Do you believe there's a God at all?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really have a conception.
Yeah, you haven't really thought about it before?
Not really.
No. And you don't notice anybody around you who's really got any conception of God either?
No. I see flashes of light real quick sometimes.
Yep.
But they move too fast. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, they're actually spirits who are in a brighter condition and a more happy condition than yourself. Would you like one of them to stop with you? So
Sure.
rather than flash by you, we'll get them to stop. Shall we do that?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So let's do that. Can you see them now?
Wow, they're really bright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are they so bright?
Well, they're bright. The brightness in the spirit world is about love and truth. The more love and truth you have inside of you, the brighter your body is. Does that make sense?
I don't have much love and truth.
Okay, so you can easily see the difference, can't you, between the two in compare. Now, the key with any comparison that you make is to compare just from a scientific point of view rather than from an emotional point of view. In other words, don't go down the track now feeling ashamed and terrible and bad because you're not as bright as they are, but just understand that they're brighter than you because they know more about truth than you do and they know more about love than you do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that also means that you can learn from them, doesn't it? You can learn something from these people.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So we'll get them to introduce themselves to you.
Monique and Marsha.
Now, what do you notice about them? They're telling you a bit about their life.
They're a couple.
Yeah. And they're a soulmate couple, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And the two girls, right?
Yes.
Just like you with your girl.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Now, can they show you what was like before they passed, what their lives were like?
They were bad.
Yeah. Okay. Did a lot of things that your girl's doing, hey?
Yes.
Okay. And how long ago did they pass?
50 years?
Okay. So in 50 years, they've gotten from where you are or even from worse than where you are to where they are now, which is a pretty bright place, isn't it?
Yes.
You can see that? They're looking pretty good.
Yes.
Look pretty beautiful, don't they?
Very.
Yeah. Okay. So that means that you are able to progress, and so is your soulmate. And I think one of them passed before the other, didn't they?
Marsha passed first.
Mm-hmm. And how long before was it that the other passed?
25 years.
Okay.
Long time.
So quite some time, right? And she was pretty concerned too about what the other one was doing, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It was painful for her, she says.
To watch, yeah. Yep. So she has been in your position. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So she really can help you a lot here. So really what I'm going to tell you is nothing compared to what they can tell you, because they've been through what you're going through.
Okay.
Right, so they've got a lot to tell you, and there's a lot for you to listen to. But if I can just suggest to you one thing, and that is their progression has been very dependent upon their connection with God. And what they're going to do is talk to you about how to actually connect to God and how that actually relieves you of certain emotions that stop you from projecting damaging things at your soulmate. And ironically, because of that, your soulmate may feel drawn into a different place. Right? Because of that.
That is good.
And the more one half of the soul progresses towards God, the more the other half of the soul is actually impacted by that progression. So the other half of the soul feels drawn along with the first half.
So if I learn to be bright like them, she will not necessarily want to do these things.
That's right. She will no longer feel this needy projection from you that causes a lot of her grief. So that will relieve her quite a lot. But then after that, she may feel drawn into following certain things that eventually get her to stop doing these things. Because you know that she's doing these things because she's avoiding her grief, isn't she?
Yes.
You know she's doing that. You can see she's doing that.
Yeah.
And that's why she's doing all of these things without really knowing what she's doing, because she's just trying to get away from this emotion. When you relieve yourself of those grieving emotions and you get closer to God, you can have a far more positive influence upon her than you can in your current condition. Because in your current condition, what you're doing is making her grief even larger.
I don't want to do that.
And what that does is actually cause her to feel more drawn to this behaviour.
I definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah. Now, you may not be able to stop this behaviour because she has free will. But by you growing, whenever she does finish up passing, or even before then, she'll start to feel the effects of your growth. So as you grow in love and in truth, and you become brighter like the couple that are with you are bright, you will actually find yourself feeling less and less projection of emotions to your soulmate, and she will feel that less and then feel drawn to even find the same path you've found.
This is very good.
Yeah, and through that process you'll be able to help her. But you're not going to help her just sitting on her shoulder like you do a lot of the time, trying to yell in her ear.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and what's happening when you're trying to yell in her ear is you've got 5 or 10 other spirits around you all yelling at her at the same time, aren't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and all telling her to do all different things, and there's some yucky man spirits with her telling her to do certain things, and there's terrible women spirits telling her to do some things as well.
Yes, I can't get rid of them either.
Okay, and if you don't understand what's going on, how can you help all of this? But what's happening is when you progress through this method, you'll understand why all these attractions are actually occurring, and you'll be able to help her a lot to get rid of those attractions. And some of those attractions are causing her to go to these things, aren't they? You know, some of those spirits are causing her to drink.
Yes.
Some of those spirits are causing her to get drunk, to take drugs. And some of them are even setting up liaisons for her, aren't they?
Yes, they are bad.
They're very sleazy spirits, aren't they?
Yes.
And they're causing her to do lots of things she possibly wouldn't normally do. Now, once you work your way through a lot of things, you will help her focus on this grief. And when she focuses on that grief, a lot of these other spirits won't be able to influence her at all.
This is such good news.
Yeah. So if you have a listen to the couple of spirits who are with you at the moment, the soulmate couple that are with you, they'll be able to tell you lots of things that I can't tell you in the time that it takes for them to tell you.
I will go with them.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.